list story. I am Ijoma Omeni, and with me here is our chief economist, Patrick Atoya, who wrote today's list story on governors asking for a new bailout. Patrick, you're welcome. Nigerian governors asking for a new bailout. Tell us why.
Okay, so according to this story, sources, business sources are telling us that the governors of the 36 states are seeking to build out again. And there's going to be a meeting of the National Economic Council on Wednesday whereby they will be tabling the issue. Basically, they want two things, moratorium on interest payments and on the principal. So they want to take some time. If some loans are coming due in the next couple of months or weeks or years, they want it to be pushed back, the payment of those loans or debts. Now, if we go back in history, just after 6 weeks after the current president was sworn in, he initiated a bailout of the states. About 23 states took part in a program whereby their short-term loans were converted into longer-term federal government bonds, which gave them more breathing room to, helped improve their balance sheet. So this will be kind of a deja vu all over again for the states coming just less than a year after the president was sworn in.
Okay. What is this meant to achieve?
Okay, if you look at the balance sheet of the states, you have a situation whereby for the federal government, 70% of their revenue comes from oil sales. In some states, it goes as high as 90%, and the price of oil, which has fallen about between 70 and 80% in the past 1 year, from over $100 to around less than $30 now, has hit the states really bad. So the revenue side, it's being hit, and at the same time, their loan, the liability side of their balance sheet is pretty big. So they have salaries to pay, they have debts to service, and they have not been able to meet up with some of those payments, debt service payments and loan and salary payments. We're here in a situation whereby there are some states who are having, before the last bailout, up to 10 months salary arrears of their workers. So the bailout, if the new bailout, if it's approved, is designed to help probably the states that did not participate in the last exercise. Nigeria has about 36 states and FCT, and only 23 states were part of the last exercise. So I guess the rest of the states that are not part of the exercise, and also the bank loans are not the only liabilities the states have. Some of them have also issued bonds, which they are servicing. So it may be also to take cognizance of the broader loans that are debt outstanding of the states, which according to the MBS is about 1.6 trillion naira as at December 2014. So the bailout is basically, if it's approved, to give the states further breathing room, especially in light of the fact that oil prices have not recovered from these levels. Oil prices have been at the depressed levels between some $40 per barrel for close more than 6-7 months now.
How is this round of bailout expected to be structured?
Okay, the way it will be structured is still open. It's still out in the air. Nobody really knows. But we can take a guess from the way the last bailout was structured. So the states that had loans with banks they were mostly short-term loans. So maybe 2 years or 1 year loans. And what the federal government did at the last bailout last year was to issue bonds to the state, to the banks, in exchange for the state, issue federal government bonds to the banks in exchange for the state government loans, thereby extending the tenure of the loans from maybe 1 or 2 years to up to 10, even 20 years. So that basically did two things. It basically freed the states from those liabilities, and also at the same time, and not necessarily freeing them from liabilities, but reducing their interest payments, and also reducing the tenure of the loans, which frees up their balance sheet a little bit. And for the states, it also means that some of an interest savings of about 3 to 9%, and yes, and debt service payments was down by between 55 and 97% for the states, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. But those are bank loans. We don't know how this is going to be achieved with other creditors, like people that bought the bonds that the states have issued out there. And also for the banks, the bailout, the period bailout was pretty positive. A few negative in terms of kind of bumped up the NPL ratios and reduced the loan book for some of the banks. But all in all, it was positive. It freed up liquidity. The FGM bond, is very liquid, and it helped the capital distance of the banks. But so we're still waiting to see how the bailout will be structured when it's tabled.
What will be the impact on creditors?
Okay, so like I just said, using the last bailout as a guide, it was a mostly positive for the banks. Some have even argued that the bailout was not really for the states, but it was a bailout of the banks, because you've taken the liabilities of a state that is less creditworthy than the sovereign, and put those liabilities on the sovereign, which is in quote unquote cannot go bankrupt. Because the sovereign will always be able to pay its naira denominated debts. So it was quite positive for the banks. But the question is, how will this loan be structured, and what loans are they looking to restructure? Because if they are talking about bonds that were issued by the states, you have pension funds as some of the creditors, the people that bought those bonds. You have finance houses, you have banks, you have a lot of people that are, creditors to those bonds, and it will be one thing restructuring a bank loan, and to be another thing to restructure a bond or any other type of loans or debts that the states own.
Will the FG be disposed to bailing out the states?
It's obvious that the federal government, the Buhari federal government, from the last exercise, probably feels that it is a way to go to help jumpstart growth in the Nigerian economy. The issues around the subnationals is a big drag on growth for Nigeria, and I'm sure the federal government would want to make sure that, as they are going ahead with trying to spend their way out of a slowing down economy, that they don't have a drag from the subnational end of the equation. So they probably will be disposed to it. And when you look at the firepower of the federal government in terms of their balance sheet, it's pretty strong. Debt to GDP ratios for the sovereign, which is Nigeria, is around 15%. So they have the firepower to do this, and they have the will. I mean, they seem willing, So they are willing. They're able to do it. The only issue would be the kind of moral hazard that comes from, bailing out, endless bailouts of states who, for the most part, have not really shown what they did with these monies that they borrowed. And there's also the issue that a few states, not all, but a few states are doing the right thing. They're improving their internal generated revenues, like Lagos, Anambra, they are Ogun to an extent. They are prudent. They've been a few prudent states, like Anambra State comes to mind. There's the issue of a moral hazard from endless bailouts, and then kind of penalizing the states that have been doing the right thing all this while. But I think if the details of the new bailout come out and it's not very controversial, I think it will move forward, because the federal government is able to do so, and they're probably willing to do so.
Thanks, Patrick, for this wonderful piece. Until we come your way next time, I'm Ijeoma Omene, signing off from Newspaper Review.